Hi, everybody. Cheryl Knowlton here in the studio with one of my very best friends in the entire world. I've been looking forward to bringing this to you for so long. I'd like you to meet Kiko Arvizu. We need some kind of a drum roll for this moment. This is so exciting. This is part one of a 5-part series, so I hope you'll tune in to all 5 parts because you're going to want all of this amazing content. But before we dive into that, I want you to get to know Kiko so that you can understand why you need to hear what he has to say. So, Kiko, tell us about you. How did you get into the real estate industry 12 years ago, right?
Yes, 12 years ago, last February.
And how was that? Was that a super easy process for you?
No, it actually wasn't. So before I got into real estate, I was a utility locator.
For Blue Stakes?
Basically Blue Stakes.
In the state of Utah?
Yeah, it's called Before You Dig. So I did that for about 6 years in Iron County, southern Utah. Got to learn the landscape very well, got to learn all the subdivisions, and basically I became a human map by default, right? And I remember seeing realtors out there driving their fancy SUVs and, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's pretty amazing, actually. But never really gave it any thought. And then my mother-in-law at the time mentioned that I should look into it. And I was very unhappy with my job at the time. I was overworked, underpaid, right? Classic scenario. So anyway, so it just worked out to where I cashed out my 401k, ended the Blue Stakes thing, started real estate school.
And you loved the fact that it was only 90 hours. You were like, I could do that.
Yeah, exactly. Because I thought you needed some sort of degree, right? You need to go to university. But I'm like, 90 hours? Like, I will kill 90 hours.
I can do that in a week and a half.
Yeah, exactly. And I tried to, and I got really burnt out a couple of times. So I had to like take a step back and then go back and get it done. But yeah, ultimately that's how I got into the business, and it was quite the process actually. But I'm grateful that I did because I'm here today because of it.
That is so fabulous. So exciting. 12 years later, you got your broker's license as soon as you were able to do so, 3 years in.
Yes, that's correct.
In the state of Utah, that's what's required. Mm-hmm. Had your own brokerage.
Yes, I did.
Became president of the board.
Yep,
which was actually how we met. So a number of years ago, I was teaching at the Iron County Convention, and Kiko was the president of the board of that time. And he was not actually the one who hired me, but that is where we met at that conference, walked into the luncheon we had been invited to attend in between my 2 sessions that first day. I was as sick as an ever-living dog. And we walk in there and I'm like, okay, 1 down, 1 to go. I can do this. And the state president at that time, who was supposed to be the luncheon speaker, did not show up without even batting an eye. Kiko steps up to the podium and knocks it out of the ever-living park. My husband was with me and he was like, who is this guy?
Wow.
So yeah, Kiko has got a bright and amazing future ahead of him. As a national speaker, I'm so excited to help him on that journey, and we're going to help him kick that off right now. So one of the things, Kiko, that I've loved about the unique value that you bring to the table is your deep understanding of personalities. And this is such a vast and varied bank of knowledge that every professional in the United States, in the world, really needs to understand. Whether you're an attorney, whether you're a doctor, whether you're a nurse, this would be valuable for stay-at-home moms, real estate professionals, everybody in between. Because why is this information valuable for someone to be able to read and understand someone else's personality and know who they're dealing with?
Well, as far as real estate is concerned, I like to believe that we're not really in the real estate business, but we are in the people business.
We are in the people business in real estate, and that's true of every business. Really, we are in the people business, and the sooner we figure that out and we can really, truly, deeply connect with people, the better we are going to be at our business and the better relationships we're going to have.
Yeah, absolutely. It's provided great awareness for myself once I began to study the 4 basic personality styles. And I ultimately came to realize why I am the way I am and why I do the things I do and why I get really fired up and excited about certain things, why I get bored easily, why sometimes I can't sit still, why sometimes I talk too much, etc., etc. So once I began to truly understand my strengths and weaknesses, it was such a game changer for me because then I'm like, wow, this makes a lot of sense. So when I was younger in school, I would always want to raise my hand to answer the question and talk to my neighbors and or the students, and now I understand exactly why I was doing what I was doing, even as a young boy, is because it's part of our hardwiring. We're born this way, is my understanding.
Absolutely. And I've read a number of books on personality. This is one of my very favorite topics to study myself. And I'm so excited to be able to teach this more as I learn more about it. So you mentioned a couple of really important things, and teachers would be another great category of people. Don't you wish your elementary school teacher understood who you were as a distinct, unique individual, hardwired, with specific skills and abilities? I wish that, because I was the same way. And that's one of the reasons you and I are so tight, is we are both high expressive. So you mentioned there are 4 distinct personality styles,
Right.
and expressive is one, and the other 3 are
Your drivers,
your drivers. So expressive, driver, and
amiable,
amiables, and last but not least, your
analytical.
analyticals.
Yes.
Okay, so as we develop this throughout the course of this week, we're going to talk about each one distinctly and individually. But to wrap this one up, let's talk about what that has meant to you. You mentioned how it was so valuable to you to learn who you were.
Yes.
What difference has that made in your life, first of all, to figure out who you were and why you're hardwired the way that you are?
Well, again, Cheryl, it provided a great sense of awareness for me, because then I felt like I was unplugged, so to speak, from the normal day-to-days of the world. Because again, I'm understanding now why I do what I do, why I feel the way I feel, just natural tendencies that I've had my whole life. And so now, because I understand those, it helps me to be able to communicate more effectively with those around me. And so the sooner a person begins to understand themselves, the sooner they can begin to understand those around them, which is key in any relationship, any work environment, any situation. It's important to be able to understand those around you so that you can effectively communicate to them and accomplish whatever goal it is that you're trying to do, whether it's conflict resolution, whether it's a building a relationship of trust. Regardless of what it is, I think it's absolutely paramount to understand these basics, because it just takes everything to the next level. And again, it creates a large amount of awareness, I guess.
Absolutely. You mentioned some really, really key things there. The ability to communicate with others and to formulate wonderful, rock solid relationships, and to be able to speak to someone in their native tongue. So a book that Kiko and I both absolutely love that you need to put on your list is called Versatile Selling. It's green, comes in paperback. Unfortunately, it does not come in Audible. You all know how I feel about Audible. That is a major bummer about it. It's an older book, and it's written by Wilson Learning Libraries, but you can get it on Amazon. Absolutely worth every single penny you would invest in this book. Even if you feel like you're not in a sales profession, this book will teach you about these 4 distinct personality styles and how to identify which one you might be dealing with when you're talking with a person. And Kiko is going to teach you how to do that in each successive day this week. So we hope you'll come back, learn more with us, and we will see you at the next episode.